There we
All
go.
right, we're live. How's everybody doing out there? We are live with the God's Fire collaboration session. And I've got this. I'm Curtis Ackerman. Thanks for having me here. I'm joined with Emil. Emil, how you doing today?
Hi, I'm fine. Thanks for having me.
Yep. And
You're the host,
Lord
man.
Stephen Bishotti. Lord Stephen, how you doing?
Hello, I'm fantastic. I hope you guys are too. This is going to be fun. I can't wait to create something new.
It's going to be a great time. So, for those of you that weren't with us on our last stream, that was our chit chat one, and basically we got on. We talked to Emil a little bit about how he got into this hobby and how he got into sculpting specifically. We then talked about some of the sculpting tools that he uses, and then went into an actual sculpt where you guys helped us to put the details of the sculpt together, and actually even name the character. So it was a lot of fun. We felt like we wanted to do something again with that, but we wanted to add a little twist to it. So we've brought our friend Steven here with us, who is an expert at writing stories. We love his bios with the God's Fire series, and we thought it'd be cool to actually create a God's Fire character here with you guys. So you'll have input on not only the design of the character, sculpture-wise, but also the bio. So look for this to be very interactive. Want to see what you guys have to say and see what we can do to incorporate some of those thoughts and ideas into the story and sculpt. So that's kind of what we're going to do today. This is kind of new territory, so forgive us if any of this gets jumbled up a little bit. We will have some prizes that we're going to give away, and we are going to do that, or we're going to try to do that live here today. Unfortunately, because we're streaming to both YouTube and Facebook, it makes it a little bit difficult combining those into one giveaway format. So what we're going to do is there's going to be a post in the Wolf Den after this live stream is over. It's going to go for a week, so from now till next Friday, actually. And basically, it'll just be a post in the den saying, what did you like about the live stream? And all you've got to do to be entered for the prizes is to go to that post in the Wolf Den and just comment something that you enjoyed about today's live stream. So I can tell you that the grand prize is going to be a Dark Templar figure, as well as one of the sculpts that we do today that'll be painted by Steven, and a cape from Sculpt Family Crafts. So that's the grand prize, and 4 people will also win an unpainted version of the sculpt. So that's kind of the layout for what we're going to do today. Like I said on the last one, we really started off with Emil talking about how he got into this, and part of that story that he talked about was really with the God's Fire, that he had Stephen reach out to him after Stephen got out of church and kind of had this idea about putting some monks in the Mythic Legion realm. So at this point, I want to turn it over to Stephen and just kind of get his take on how this relationship started between the two of you. How did God's Fire kick off? So take it away, Stephen.
Well, gosh,
I'm sorry.
The way it wasn't like I walked out of church and called Emil. Actually, when the church thing happened, I didn't even know Emil yet. That was actually quite a long time before I met Emil. But
Really?
yeah.
So here I am. I've been spreading the wrong story. I'm sorry for being a liar.
No, I don't think I ever told you a timeline.
Oh, okay. So you're the liar. Please continue.
I was at a wedding. Not a wedding. I was not at a wedding. I was at a
funeral.
Renewal of vows for my in-laws at a Catholic church. And the Catholic churches tend to have those cool statues. This is an old Catholic church downtown Detroit, and they had these cool statues. And I was, like I do, staring at the artwork around because that's fun, and the sculptures. And there was this one statue, and I don't know if it was supposed to be. I don't know who it was supposed to be, but it was a monkish looking guy, but he was holding a sword, and I thought it was cool. And I'm like, that's cool, but he doesn't have any armor. If he goes out with that sword, he's gonna get killed. So then I started formulating a story in my head about why this guy has no armor, and I came up with this. This is the original thing I wanted to do. I wanted to make these monks that were so good at swordplay they didn't wear armor, and the reason they didn't wear armor is because they believed if their faith was strong enough in God, they wouldn't get touched. And if one of their brothers falls in battle, they blamed it on he just wasn't faithful enough. But these guys were so good that they were very hard to beat. And I just thought that was kind of this funny little story I had in my head. And then fast forward to Mythic Legions and me thinking, hey, maybe I can make a custom of these guys. But how are you going to make, at that time especially, how are you going to make an unarmed Mythic Legion? Because everything was, we're talking a long time ago. Even now it would be difficult. I wanted a robed kind of. So that was impossible. Then it wasn't impossible. It was more work than I wanted to do. I should say. So my story was kind of wasn't going to come. Well, I wasn't going to be able to make an action figure representation of what I thought was cool. Fast forward to Wolf King Customs getting off the ground. Len starts sending me parts to paint just to see what I think of them. Actually, I don't know if he expected me to paint them because I was not painting at that time. But anyways, I did paint them, and that relationship kind of blossomed with Len. And then it got to the point where Len started asking me if I had any ideas. Do you have any ideas for things you'd like to see sculpted? And I did, and I told him my ideas about my monks, which I had to make fit with Mythic Legions easier. So I revamped that whole story to forget the whole no armor thing, and we're going to make them on Templars. And he said, reach out to Emil. Emil had recently started doing a few things with Len. I believe at that time I feel like it was his big ogre head that had just been completed or was for sale or something.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And so I reached out to Emil, which I didn't know barely at all at that time.
I don't think we've spoken or written,
no,
at all.
No.
I've only seen you as this famous podcaster who was, getting all the fans everywhere, and then from out of nowhere, you just sent me a message, hello, and I'm like, okay, continue.
So I sketched up some stuff. I talked to Emil. Emil was like, yeah, this sounds like fun. I sketched up 2 little rough pictures of heads that I thought were cool, that were monks. The original design actually had where the head shaved, and they got the hair around. Emil didn't think that was cool enough, so he said no, and we created the judge, the believer, and
we start with those 2.
Yeah, we started, as far as I know. Yeah, we started with those 2. And then we were going to make another guy, and at some point we decided to put a hood on him, and that became the Fallen. We didn't have names for him or anything.
The Faithless.
The Faithless. I'm sorry, the Faithless.
Yeah.
The Judge, the Believer, and the Faithless were the first 3 out, which was cool. And then me and Emil just started knocking around stories and going back and forth, and just basically we both were enjoying ourselves, having fun, and it just kept going, and we wrote stories. And Emil, he has to do everything, so he's like, well, okay, not only can I sculpt, but I can make websites, and I can also do these cool photographs with the bios, and I'll put them online. And it just became a big play fest, and that's where it all started.
So at this point in the game, you guys have a ton of different characters in the God's Fire series. You've got the actual monks themselves, you've got the Mud Thumps, you've got the Alliance, and the one that we're going to be focusing on today is this Order of the Pure. So
may I stop there? Just because you had Maverick's question up on screen.
Yeah. I wanted
while Steven was talking. I
felt like Steven kind of answered that, but Maverick did have a question here. Was I've always wondered, is God's Fire the name of a sword or something in the world of God's Fire?
No, God's Fire, I think actually we were batting around different names to call this group of monks. I think at one time it was called God's Fist.
Yes, that's one of the names we pondered around.
And that came about because of 5 fingers and there's 5 members. But I think that was part of the reasoning when we got to Fist.
And I think at that time we almost only had 4 characters, but we knew we wanted a group of 5 characters. We actually hadn't come up with the last one yet.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I thought from when you were telling the story that it was like the fire in their hearts, like the God, like they've, got to have that God's fire in order to be,
Yeah, I kind of thought that it's like, okay, so first of all, when we're talking about religion, since we're talking of a mythical land, we kind of early on decided that even though we made them as Templars, we kind of figured like they could be something else. Let's remove them from this world and put them in our in our world, so we can just remove all the discussions about real life religions. But then we thought that whatever god this is, the fire that this group would be, that would be the fire of this group, like purging all the evil. Kind of, right? Well,
yeah. And if memory serves me right, Emil's the one that came up with the name God's Fire. But I'm not positive. Seems like you did. But
yeah, maybe.
So by the time I actually got into God's Fire, because I had seen the parts. I mean, there's a lot of 3D companies out there, a lot of different parts and head sculpts, and specifically, by the time I really got into it, like at the time I was doing customizing and just grabbing a head from this company and from that company, this and that. But then, from talking to you guys, I kind of stumbled upon this God's Fire series website, and that's when everything changed for me, because starting to I started reading the bios until I realized that several of them had ones that Emil had already read and recorded, and listening to that is like pure gold. I mean, having Emil tell you a story is awesome. So that changed everything for me, because now it wasn't you're just buying 3D parts and making something, but you're actually taking this story and trying to interpret it as a customizer into a sculpt. So that's what I really enjoyed. So as far as the story process and putting these characters together, can you guys talk a little bit about that? And then I know we're going to go to the actual God's Fire page and show people that. But as far as how the stories come together, what does that interaction between the two of you look like in terms of creating a character?
Well, the stories, if I remember right, me and Emil were kind of making up these stories anyways.
Yeah.
And so we were kind of like, okay, there were some other 3D parts companies out there doing it, but what could we do that was completely different? And so we thought, well, let's make these stories known. Let's make characters and show people that, hey, you could use this part to make this character, and you can put your own twist on it, do whatever you want, or you could not use it at all, obviously, and do your own thing. But it was a fun way for us to, I think, just make the whole process more enjoyable, right?
I actually think it was even before that. When we say that, what can we do different from other third-party makers? I don't think we even went there. We actually started with having fun creating these characters. Yeah. And so it wasn't like, what can we do that no one else is doing? No. We had fun creating this. So we made up the stories, and we had the stories written down, and made up the characters in our chats and everything. So it kind of just grew from there, I guess, right?
It did grow from there, but it was kind of, I personally remember thinking, well, no one else is doing this yet, so this is kind of cool.
Okay, you didn't tell me. I just thought it was fun, but now I know it. Well,
it is fun.
It was cool as well.
We were, like you said, we were doing it anyways, but when we decided to put it out there and put our stories out there and our pictures of these characters and show them the way we interpreted them, I thought that was kind of fun, because especially because we were offering painted parts. That way, there's people out there that there's some really creative people that can just do their own thing, and there's other people that, like Travis is an example. How am I going to... He asks me all the time. He'll buy a painted head. He'll say, how do I use this head? And I figure there's a lot of people out there like Travis that it's like, okay, This is how we use the head. Do that if you want.
Speaking of Travis, he says Emil needs to grow a beard so he fits in.
He does.
Well, Travis, I'm sorry, but how would you explain this? I can't grow this. I could grow this, but I mean, I might as well be different.
So the process has always just been, as far as I feel, what do we want to make next that's fun, and how do we make it fit into this world?
Yeah.
Okay. So, at this point, I think it would be a good time to pull up the actual God's Fire site. And, Emil, if you could just kind of navigate that a little bit for us and show, like, if people were to go on there, like, what things that they might be looking for and how can they find it?
Sure. So this is what you'll see when you come to the site. It's a menu up here, but you could basically go down, and the first thing that's happening is a short description of what God's Fire series is, and then you can listen to the bios. Not all bios, actually. I did this not this summer, but the last summer. So the ones that we had finished, I recorded. So you can listen to them here. You could actually just hit play on the first one and then just listen to them one after another. But below here we have links to all the characters. I, however, think there is one or two that is missing here. So these are most of the characters so far. Well, you click on any character here, and then you come to that character's page, and read the bios. And let's just look at this last one, for example.
Can you before you do that, can you show the part with the different factions and the different factions, and just kind of talk about that? Like, I think if you hit the thing up in the top corner, doesn't that pull up the? Yeah. So can you talk up through those real quick?
Sure. Steven, you want to start with it? The God's Fire is obviously the group of the 5 Templars in the God's Fire order. And then we have a number of other characters that would fit into this faction, kind of. Actually, not. Actually, I think we need to put these somewhere else. But that's because we have developed the world. And but basically, the God's Fire is.
But those are pretty much the good guys, right? You would say?
Well, the one thing about God's Fire is we've tried to. It's a lot of shades of gray, but yes, they're for the most part good guys.
Okay.
Yeah. So then we have the Alliance, and then we actually come to this page with the Alliance. The Alliance is they also see themselves as the good guys, you know. They have a hate for the people that are against them. You know, someone has poured hate into their hearts about all these humans that are putting up settlements and attacking them for one reason or another. So you can read about the different characters that are part of the Alliance, with perhaps the most. Lord Perosa being the leader of the Alliance.
So those two are really at odds with each other, the God's Fire and the Alliance.
If you're thinking of He-Man, you're going to go back to the old Masters of the Universe. You think of God's Fire is the Masters, and these guys are the evil warriors.
Gotcha.
You kind of look at it that way. And then later on, we're going to have like the Horde coming in.
Okay.
Another faction that could be at odds with both of them.
Yeah.
So then we got the Mud Thumps, which are some of my favorites.
The Mud Thumps is like, you could say that they're like a comic relief. Don't have any photos here of them, but it's comic relief perhaps but they're nasty. They're not good. So they're basically a goblin mafia clan.
Okay.
They're the mob. They're the mob of the society, so they kind of could work. The good guys can use them for their purposes, pay them to do stuff that they need to be done. But it's not like I mean, everyone knows that these are the mobs. They do things their own way.
So they're like paid mercenaries.
Yeah, not even mercenaries.
No.
They got their own thing going on.
Gotcha.
They started out with money lending, and if they don't get paid back, they bust your knees or they kill you.
Okay.
And, it's kind of like if you need a favor, you could go to Mama Mud Thump and see if she'll grant you the favor.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we need to add the photos here. This is Mama. She's the boss. And one thing that we enjoy doing, I mean, I've always loved RPGs when you build up your characters and stuff. So we added these characteristics on each character in this series. So you could basically see who is smart and strong. And you can obviously see that Mama Mud Thump, she's the boss, but she's super weak. She's probably the weakest character we've done so far with a 14. So this is just something to see she's super smart. I mean, smarter than most.
Hey, right says that Goblin Mafia was his band's name in high school. So there you go.
I like it.
Cool. We need to make a T-shirt then. So,
all right. So we got the Mud Thumps, and then
we have the corrupt. Well, we pronounce this differently. We have just agreed to disagree, right?
Is it Corrupt Terrans? Is that what it is?
That's how I say it. How do you say it, Emil?
And I say corruptorans. But remember, I'm not from the U.S. I don't speak English that good as you guys do. So, I mean, maybe that's a Swedish accent to call them corruptorans.
Gotcha.
So,
I don't know.
These are the first corruptorans we have made in the line. Well, we could say, to easily describe these guys, they're snobby vampire characters that are super powerful.
Yeah. They're basically
they're
daywalkers. Basically, they don't have the typical weaknesses of vampires, and they still have all the powers.
Yeah, and we will actually be. This is one of the things that we've seen Luis Torres versions of the corruptorans, and they are so amazing. And we will actually put his photos of them up here, because this has evolved from me and Steven having fun to well, we're getting more people involved who want to play with us. Like we're the idea for today to create a character together.
Yeah.
So. Luis's versions of the corruptorans and other characters has actually, well, his additions have made it into the stories, into the main storyline, and that's a lot of fun. And you have written a story as well.
I helped write a story. Yes, yeah. It was very interesting. It was an interesting process for sure.
And that was a lot of fun, and it was, of course, supervised by Steven.
Yeah.
And I say that in a good way, because it's fun to also see that it also follows something, that it makes sense into the overall lore, to keep it consistent,
Yeah, I think seeing firsthand how Steven helped design the bio for a single character, but at the same time make sure that it meshes with everything that you've already created in that world is really neat. So I thought that was a cool process. So hopefully we'll see some of that today.
Yeah, and that's a lot of fun. So I just
and is that the last faction before Order of the Pure?
Yeah, the ones that we have ready to show.
So far there's only one member of the Order of the Pure, which is the Unyielding. So we thought it would be kind of a good idea if Emil, since you do such a good reading of the bios, if you could read the Unyielding bio for us to kind of set the stage for what we're doing today.
Sure, I'll read that, and that's written by Steven. So this is the Unyielding, and this head. Before this one, Steven and I had designed the sculpts together. Some I've done most of it, and some of the designs are mainly Steven's. This is all Steven's design and sculpt, so that's fun. So we're both of us sculpting for the line as well. For the line, yeah, for this
for the series.
For the series, that's how you say it. The line sounds like, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we have our own real toy line or something.
Yeah, this is fun. This is like we're in our room, in our toy room. Like, yeah, so this character, he has this power, and this one has this. Just so you know, when we're gonna play, that's exactly what we're doing now. Okay, so this is the fierce leader of the army of the pure. He finds himself at odds with both the Grand Order and the Alliance for his belief that all intelligent, non-human, and magic-wielding creatures should be destroyed. Okay, this is the bio, so make sure that you sit comfortable in your chair or in the sofa or whatever, or if you don't want to listen to this, come back in a few minutes. In his youth, the Unyielding was a gifted monk. At that time, he was known as Brother Vering. Is that okay? Pronunciation?
Yeah.
He was as smart as they come and possessed blind faith in the teachings of the Grand Order. He knew from an early age that he was not destined to stay at his quiet monastery, but would leave to join the army of the Grand Order as soon as he was allowed to, on his 16th birthday. A fact, the Grand Order, that's the God's fire is a part of the Grand Order. He progressed as a soldier very fast. He seemed to be made for combat and quickly saw his first real battle. It was on this battlefield that he met another aspiring young soldier named Brother Lundberg. It was an unceremonious meeting. The two had no time for introductions as they found themselves back to back fighting for their lives, knowing only that they shared the same uniform. They had formed a bond like only soldiers can, and were soon inseparable. The two bled together, ate together, and became as close as brothers. But while Lundberg was able to keep his heart and mind filled with hope that peace would someday come, Vering was falling into despair. Sometimes the battles were against men, but often they were fighting non-human enemies. Vampires, Remorians, skeletons, orcs, goblins, and even trolls were always making trouble. Magic wielders, sorcerers, and the like were also horribly dangerous. Vering's heart was growing harder and colder after every battle as he saw his friends fall. Vering began having a group of friends rally every night and discuss the wars. He became very vocal at these meetings. He was very charismatic and spoke well. He preached that the Grand Order was not doing enough. The Order was too reactionary and needed to stop waiting for the enemy to start trouble and instead go on full offense against what he called the impure. The impure, according to Vering, was any non-human or magic-wielding creature that was able to organize themselves into a societal threat. He even began quoting the Grand Book of the Order, twisting its words to support extermination of the impure. This is what destroyed his friendship with Lundberg. Lundberg would not stand to hear the Grand Book's meanings twisted into words of hate. He and Vering would argue violently into the early hours until Lundberg was no longer allowed at Vering's fireside chats. Even the judge was barred simply for being friends with Lundberg. As Vering's following grew, the army of the Grand Order became fractured to the point that a large group of soldiers began taking orders from Vering himself instead of the Order's generals. One day, Vering and his men disappeared. Nearly a third of the Order's army deserted, all of them followers of Vering. Now, Vering commands his own army that fanatically hunts down and destroys any non-human settlements they can find. Their mission is complete extermination of the impure. The only thing standing in their way is the army of the Grand Order and the Alliance, two groups at war with each other. Vering, now known as the Unyielding, rules his men with fanatic propaganda and the twisted word of the Grand Book.
That's an amazing bio. So today we're going to be creating and sculpting the second member of the Order of the Pure. So with that being this bio that we just read is the Unyielding. I mean, it sounds to me like he's the leader of the Order of the Pure, and now we're going to be creating somebody that kind of works for him. But I got the hint from that bio that in his mind, he feels like he's in the right. Like he's taking out these non-human folks because he sees them constantly killing his brothers in battle, and he feels like he has to go on the offensive in order to keep everybody safe. Is that kind of sum that up pretty well, Stephen?
Absolutely. It's based on a lot of veterans that, like, if you go back to like World War II and a lot of the big wars and stuff, they go in there as kids and they see things, atrocities that changes them. And some people weather that very well and they come home and they can handle it, and some people can't. I remember this is kind of based on an experience I had when I was about 9, and I went over to, my dad took me over to a coworker's friend who had been a Vietnam vet, and he had in his closet a skull that he had somehow gotten back from Vietnam. Nice guy. That war changed him to think that it was cool to have a human skull in his closet. So, I mean, that's where this kind of comes from. Is this guy was a good guy. He just says he was smart. He was buddies with our hero, the believer. He was buddies with that guy, but after seeing the atrocities over and over and over, he's not weathering it well, and he didn't weather it well, and he twisted that into hate, and now he is the hero of his own story, but he's not the hero. He's unyielding. He doesn't. Not everybody's bad. Not all these people are bad. Some of these people, but he doesn't care. He wants them gone. He wants revenge.
So, like we've seen in Mythic Legions, there's, they've just started introducing like some orcs that are good and things like that. In this guy's mind, there's no such thing. There's no thing as a good orc. So,
actually, I think there are very few characters in the whole series that sees themselves just to be egoistic and evil.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few, but most are not. Most see themselves as, of course, we're the good guys. Or, I mean, of course, we're doing this for the right cause. Not all, but most,
But it seems like this Order of the Pure is a very extreme group. So the folks that are in there, I'm guessing that you would have a few different types. Some that, like this gentleman, feel like they're doing the right thing. And you're probably going to get some people in there that are just kind of jerks, that really are evil. So as we go into this character that we're creating today, like, what are your guys' thoughts for this? We already have the Unyielding. We have the number one guy in the Order of the Pure. For this character, what are your initial thoughts? Like, who is this person that we're going to create today?
I say we make the second in command.
Okay.
I think we make the guy that is, not he would be maybe more the leader on the battlefield, where Unyielding is more big picture. And for that, because of what I just described, these people that follow the Unyielding, in my opinion, are people that are scarred by the things that have happened to them and things that they have seen. And so I want this guy scarred. Physically.
Scarred.
I want this guy to look like he's been in a lot of battles. He's been beaten. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So this is somebody that, like the Unyielding, has seen atrocities caused by these non-humans. He's been scarred himself by these things, physically and emotionally, and now he is decided to join the Unyielding and go after all of them.
Yep, take out the problem before it happens.
Okay. So, as we start talking through this, because we're going to go to the sculpt here in just a few minutes, but as we start talking through who this character is, if anybody in the chat has, ideas on things that you'd like to see, either in a sculpt or things that would be interesting in the bio, feel free to throw them out there. There's a chance that some of those could be incorporated. This is once again, this is new territory for us, and feel free to throw out those ideas. So
we're having thoughts like an eye patch or glass eye, or are you thinking that it's scar? I mean, because it's the classical thing to have a scar on top of your eye, but is that the kind of scar you're thinking of? It has been done many times, so it's very common. It looks badass, but it's very common. I'm just Nate Strong here. Yeah, let's make a pause here. Yeah, for the Legion's Lounge, Nate.
When I just saw somebody. Let's see, they don't have. It's Nathaniel Armstrong, but it says acid burns, sort of magical wound. Like initially, what I was thinking when you said that was, for those of you that watch Walking Dead, that like I know like Negan would burn these gentlemen with an iron. He would take a hot iron and burn it on their face when they stepped out of line. So I'm thinking something like that, some sort of, whether it's acid or fire or some sort of burn, rather than the typical, like you said, kind of through the eye kind of scar.
Yeah, I'm not thinking of a through the eye kind of scar. Yeah. Eye patch I actually kind of like, because I don't think we have a character in the God's Fire with an eye patch.
No, I don't think so. So
also, I think hair missing could be a fun one.
Hair missing?
Yes, like an area where maybe his hair doesn't grow because of some mutilation. I think that maybe he keeps a short hair cut, because I think when I think of that, I think of what's his name, the Hound, from but he had the long hair, so it looked really gross. Yeah. It always because it was thin in the areas where his hair was missing. But so to kind of, I don't want it to be a reminiscent of that, but maybe we could have it so his hair is maybe a shorter hairstyle, so it's not as. But you definitely can see the mutilation up into his forehead, a magic burn of some sort that takes out part of his eye. I'm not talking about a scar like everybody. We've seen tons of sculpts that have scars. I'm talking about like a big piece of disfigurement.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
To this guy.
Now, the other thing is, I know we've got the Sir Jeramore figure where he's half demon and half human, and so I wouldn't want to do something too similar to that.
No.
But it's simply just making it a demon, because that's more than scars.
Correct.
But it could be really, really scarred, even though it's not. It doesn't have to be turned into a demon. But just imagine the scars. Are we talking about stuff where you like part of the cheek is done?
No, so maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't even touch that part. Maybe it's his eye, and maybe up into his head, and then he wears an eye patch across it.
I like this idea that branding. Something maybe he was captured by, whether it was orcs or goblins or something, and maybe they branded him even. So, I don't know.
I'm trying to think of how you'd pull that one off.
How you would mark someone, or how you would incorporate it, like there are groups that brand.
Yeah, because then.
Because, I mean, typically a branding like that, then after it heals, it raises up. So as far as the sculpting details, instead of being in, it would be out. But
yep. So this would be, I mean, because of course they need to be pretty boys in this group as well. That are like, handsome and dangerous.
Oh yeah.
So, but this one, he's not one of them. He is discarded. He's furious. He's scarred with a burn. Yeah, like that. Electing his eye all the way to his ear and down to his jaws. Electing, what does that mean?
Affecting, I think he means.
Okay, sorry, yeah.
His eye all the way down to his ear and his jaw.
Seems like many are into this, at least, to have some kind of big, magically burned or somehow burned scar.
I like the one eye idea. I think I'm getting attached to the one eye.
So we're thinking some kind of area here.
Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe an eye patch and some sort of burn affecting that side of the face.
Okay. That would be interesting. So for you who are, I mean, the way we're usually doing characters are very different.
Anthony says he should be incredibly handsome and just have emotional scarring.
No, we're
You know
not
what?
making. We're not going to make a figure of me.
Oh, let's make that the next one we do. But I mean, so sometimes we're going for this. We need a general. How is he gonna be? And then we start talking like this. Some other time it's like, I want to make this kind of character. You know, I want to make.
Go ahead.
Can we fit that into the story somehow?
Yeah,
Like,
it's often that this same character could come about by one of us emailing each other and saying, "I want to do a guy with an eye patch."
yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I'm not
Who's
sure
he
if
gonna
it was you, Curtis, or someone else who said like the last time or in the chat somewhere like, isn't it time for an orc? And I instantly got super excited to make an orc, and then I just wrote Stevens like, so can we work an orc in somewhere because I want to do yeah. But so here we have the general. I mean, sometimes we even have a name from the beginning. It's so here we have a general, the character, who has a scar. So shall we go into?
Is that the rank that we're going with for this second in command as general?
that works.
I read someone said general, but I don't know.
I think this works. General or commander would be the two I would think of. I mean, you could almost put the general on the unyielding, and you could make this guy the commander. But either way works for me.
Oh, somebody said an empty socket, like an empty eye socket. So instead of a patch, that would be creepy.
That would be creepy, but going into a fight, wouldn't it be better to have a patch to kind of cover the infection and stuff? He has no eye. Let's make sure he has no eye under that patch.
No.
Okay.
So, Hank, there is an empty socket below the patch. So now we know. We're going to make it a removable patch. So, no, I'm just kidding.
now we're making two heads.
Yeah. So can we go into sculpting?
Last time that we did the sculpting, because it was more basically focused on the sculpt itself rather than the whole character creation. We started from a ball of clay that you did everything from scratch. This time, because we're building a story with it, you're going to be using a template that you already have created. So you want to talk a little bit about that and maybe pull that up and talk about where we're going to progress with that.
Yeah. So I'll show you right away. So I will be able to see you guys on my cell phone here, I guess.
I do like this idea, an oversized eye patch that's bolted to the face. If he has no eyeball and it's just an empty socket and you're permanently wanting to keep it covered, you probably wouldn't want something that you take on and off. So something that's bolted to his face might be kind of cool.
It might look cool, but you got to keep it clean.
Isn't that how we're gonna make an orc? Let's do that, Joe. Let's save that oversized and put on the orc, so it's bolted down, and because he could work on it better. So, can you share the screen now? Add to the live. If you
just add the stream.
Yeah.
Yep. We good. We see in your screen.
Awesome.
There's
So
a good looking fella.
So this is a template.
Now, is this one that you use often, Emil?
Yeah. So early on when I started sculpting, I did a head. Not this one. It was another one that was supposed to be a male head, and I did multiple prints together with Len, I think, to make sure the size was okay.
Douche says, "Is that 2000X Zodak?" I think when you're a Motu guy, you see Motu everywhere, even when it's not.
So this head has actually been printed, right?
Yeah, this is one of our characters that we call the Shujin.
Okay. Yep. And
he's one of the characters that are not up on the site.
Gotcha.
He's available at Wolf King Customs. You can get that painted.
Is that your first sale ever that you promote something in a live or something? So basically, what I'm gonna say is,
I just want people to know, look how good looking he is. He looks really cool.
Well, you know,
Like
that is a
5
good point, though, because we really haven't mentioned that we all work for Wolf King Customs, and this is in the Wolf Den, and, you know,
I like to say work with.
Gotcha. Work with.
we work for Len, who is telling us what we are allowed to do and not. We're not free people.
He's ordering us around right now.
So what I was gonna say is that the full version of this, I have this in a couple of parts. Eyebrows on one layer, the ears I have on as one subtool. It's called subtools. All of these.
I like that where it, without an ear there, that'd be cool to do one of those like that, like with the burn. Maybe took out his ear.
Yeah, we could do that.
That looks cool like that.
So it's finished. Thanks for the live, everyone, for joining.
Done.
So what I was gonna say is that the high resolution that you have when you, well, I start from the beginning. We wanted a head sculpt that where the size is good. So when I start making a new head now, I start from this because I know if I print it in this size, it will work. So if I modify this any way I modify it, it's I still know that this fit will work on a peg. This will look good according to what I think, of course, because all of us who sculpt, we sculpt in slightly different. We make the heads slightly different when it comes to size. So what I've done here is that I've the sculpt in is a pretty high resolution to be able to print the details. Now, before I do start with a new, I have lowered the resolution of the sculpts. You can see here small polygons here.
Yeah, it's almost like pixels.
So pixels, they're not called, but okay, whatever.
It says light pixels.
Oh, sorry, yeah. So you want to add more details to the final version, but if you make something a high resolution, a high details, then it will be very demanding for your computer to sculpt, like adding a stroke like this. Maybe now it's pretty smooth to add. That looks evil. But if the resolution would be higher, it would be like you draw something and then after a while you kind of see it, you know? So that would be very hard to work on. So we don't want the final result to look similar to this, but we'll make sure that before we end this, that it's not similar at all. So let's start to play. Oh, we activate symmetry because the idea that we have with the scar. Let's build up the character first, and then we. You say mutilate, or we scar him. We scar him once we've done something more.
Okay.
So I'm just adding. I think he will be. Just adding stuff to make sure that it looks different. You can also just.
So while you start on that, let's talk more about who this person is. So he's second in command. He's a general. We know that he's scarred. What kind of backstory are we thinking with this guy? Like, where does he come from?
I think we should. And then here's another. It's going to inform Emil a little bit more on the sculpt if he agrees with what I'm thinking. I think he should. Well, maybe that doesn't make sense. Well, yeah, it does. I think he should be older.
Yeah, somebody just said older for sure.
Because I would like to. This guy was maybe around even before the Unyielding in all the battles. He's a very war-hardened veteran. And he's gonna that attributes to you know, his mindset, and obviously, you can't be in a war that long without bringing some scars back, physical and.
So maybe like he's already kind of felt this way for a while, this anger or hatred towards non-humans, and once the unyielding kind of broke off to do his own thing, this guy was like, "Yes, this is what I've been waiting for," kind of thing.
Yeah, this would have been like maybe one of the first guys to start being like, this unyielding guy, this guy's got it right. And
Gotcha.
Lundberg is kind of, he's Lundberg's too soft. Lundberg's a, to quote the Punisher, he's a half measure.
Gotcha.
So I like him having a, heavy features, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mock Slot says, could he have facial hair, but then the severe scarring which prevents it from growing on certain areas, like no eyebrow on one side, etc. So we've heard a few people say kind of, at least with the hairline, but I don't know. I'm not sure what you guys think about the eyebrow and facial hair, if that would be missing. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, remove one eyebrow for sure.
Okay.
Now Emil's he's using the move tool here to adjust things.
No pressure, Emil, but we do have Sable watching right now. He says he likes to see on ZBrush. So
okay, then I'm gonna say that Seba is the best. When I watch someone do good stuff, then I'm sure he's the best one. So he's actually helped me with the you see all the menus. If you have opened ZBrush before, then the menus are in slightly different positions, and that is because Seba has allowed me to use his setup. So he sent me his setup to make it easier to work in ZBrush.
So Emil, how familiar are you, or have you, since you started sculpting, have you really tried to study the muscles in the face?
Yeah.
Is that something that?
But not as much as I should, because I've been doing other things than sculpting. But I must admit that I keep staring at people, trying not to stare at them when I watch something in their face,
So when we were at Legion's Con and I woke up in the middle of the night and you were standing over my bed, was that studying my face or?
Yeah, nothing else, nothing creepy, nothing special, but just studying. It was just for the greater good.
Let's see. We got Nathaniel Armstrong here said, got to decide what the wound was. That should dictate what is missing. I think at this point we're kind of set on it's some sort of burn. It's probably a magic burn of some sort. It's affecting one side of his face. It definitely is going to affect the eyebrow and the hair. And are we okay with a missing ear too, or is that too much? Or a burned ear, some sort of like.
I'm fine with a missing ear, but what do you say, Steven?
Well, if people really want to know how we really work with just trying stuff. I mean, wouldn't you agree? It's like, okay, well, we'll take his ear off. No, that's too much. Put it back on.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
That's the good thing with this is, you can do that sort of thing pretty fast. You can remove an ear and look at it and put it back pretty effortlessly, I think.
Yeah.
Right, Emil?
Yes.
Are both your ears on one sub tool?
Yep.
So if you want to remove one of them, you just have to. I don't know what you have to do. How you do that?
I think.
And of course, you see all these how bad it looks.
Yep. And that's because you're Now, are you not using Dynamesh at this point?
I am using Dynamesh.
What when you're at 400 resolution?
Yeah, it's 400, but I think I could actually use 600 already because oh, not 6.
Sarah says a deformed ear would be cool. Dooch says chop that ear off. So got some different views. We'll kind of see as we get there. I think just based on the Sir Jeramore figure that we already have, and I know that's different, Emil, but I think we should probably do the burn on the right side of the face, just so it's
his left.
Yeah, right side is we're looking at his left.
I done something, and maybe Seba can answer me as what I've done wrong if he's still here. Like why when I tried to smooth it. Okay, now it didn't happen.
Brian Almeida says some cauliflower earring for the scarring and such. This way you don't have to remove it, but you can show damage. And then he says, hey guys. Nothing from Sam if he's still watching.
Yeah, and I don't think I've.
Cauliflower ear is cool, but I'm an old wrestler, so that I'm used to.
Is that? Do you know what that term is, Emil? Is that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I didn't know if that was a common over in Swedish too.
So this is something that's happening now. When I try to smooth it, you see how it looks worse.
Yeah.
I
don't know why. So
yeah, Seba's there now. So he's saying he's trying to smooth it, Seba, but it's making it look worse. Not sure if you have any ideas.
Maybe I just need to increase the resolution. But so we could start from a blob like we did the last head, and that's perfectly fine. But once we have all this, it's more fun to go into the actual character development.
Seba says check the bottom of the button on the side of draw. He said he doesn't remember what it's called.
The button on the side of draw, move, or edit, or I don't know if he's looking at this.
When you smooth, that function turns on, turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
Center top.
Okay, sorry, here we go. Oh, this one perhaps.
He said something turns on when you smooth. Try smooth and see if something lights up.
Oh,
there you go.
This one. Ha! Thank you, I think. Let's see. Yes. Seba, once again. Oh, okay. So now something really bad happened.
Okay, what happened?
This is super bad. So the program crashed. So the best way is to keep saving, because now you can still see the mesh in the background. Here it is. But you see?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if we can just, since we've only been working on one sculptor, maybe I could just save that tool.
We've got a couple people in the chat talking about draining your ear. You ever had your ear drained, Stephen?
No, I did not ever I did not ever suffer from cauliflower ear because I always wear my headgear. Not that people still get it, but I never really. I had gotten to the point where my ears were hurting a lot, but they never started to swell up or do the funky cauliflower ear. But I do know plenty of other guys who have had to deal with that.
Yeah, Mark Halseal says he had his drained a few times. Not fun. That doesn't sound fun.
No.
Oh, Seba said that your thing didn't crash. He said hit Control and N. Control
what?
plus N.
that I have to talk to you more about. So now we solve this. Could manage it. Oh, Seba, I can say, has helped me a lot when it comes to when I did my 3D animated movie. I was like, I needed to talk to an expert, and he was there. He's very, very generous. So, and Curtis and Steven, you're also very generous. I'm sorry if I said something good about someone else here, but it's.
We've got Slot Much Slot again. Says he's asking, does ZBrush crash a lot? Does it need high-powered PC?
I don't think you need a very high-powered PC, depending on how high resolution you're using. And if I'm gonna say that it crashes otherwise, yes, it does. But if it is what Seba says, that's not a crash, but something else, then I'm gonna find out. So, well, had an answer. It crashes from time to time for sure. Now I'm not sure if it's a crash. Okay, does that make sense?
Yep. And Colin says that it felt like you were obligated to say nice things about me and Steven, and that it really didn't sound sincere.
That's how our friendship works. That's how our friendship works. It's pure obligation.
So, just want to let you know, it's other people are hearing it too. It's not just me and Steven hearing the insincerity. So,
but you heard what I said about Seba, right?
oh yeah.
Oh,
You sounded very sincere about Seba.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that everyone heard that.
Yeah, we got it.
So another thing, here I am sculpting everything on one. I mean, with one subtool, like all this head that somehow I've named it vampire, but it's never mind that. That is sometimes I do different subtools for these fat parts under the ears. You could do multiple subtools when creating the nose, but I'm not gonna do that now. But it's things you can do.
Colin asked if his name shows up now, and it does. You did give StreamYard access, and you are good to go, Colin.
Nice.
So maybe I've not changed it that much anyway, but it's so we're gonna move into if the scar part is the biggest part.
What about hair other than the scarred part? Is this guy? I know the Unyielding is a bald character. What are we thinking for hair for this guy?
That's a good idea.
Definitely have some hair. I don't want
to
make it look like
I know Dooch was joking earlier about a cop haircut, but I think a flat top type look would be something that's kind of cool. And it's kind of an older military looking type haircut. I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's not very medieval looking though.
No, that's true.
That's cool. Just leave it.
Here we go. Now we only need to add the scars and remove a.
There you go, cone head.
Yes, I'm here to. Maybe I'm just sitting here jealous because I don't have any hair. Yeah. Have you ever thought about that, Steven? That maybe I'm not very. Maybe I'm feeling bad.
Because you don't have any hair?
Yeah, and I wanna have hair.
I don't ever think that you feel bad. too happy.
You give him a nice little Stephen Bisciotti haircut.
Yeah, just take the hair and drag it up. Welcome. I a little bit to the side. Let's see, like, I come in peace.
Drew Grubb says flat top with mirrored sunglasses. There you go.
Yeah, we are still talking medieval here, are we?
We've got some people talking about mullets, but I think we've done the mullet character with the mud thumb.
Oh yeah, mullets are a style.
They are one of the styles that are available.
Emil
Louise says short haircut for sure, but not flat top. So
that's what I think too. He's just shorter haircut.
Shorter haircut.
Militaristic.
Okay.
No, Emil was so whiny about that mullet.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we were gonna do Billy, he fought us so hard.
Well, Steven wanted me to put a mullet. I asked him. I had a bald goblin, and it's like, okay, I want to some kind of hair on his head, and then I just asked Steven, "What do you think? Give him a mullet." I'm like, "No, I was serious. What are we gonna do?" And he's like, "Give him a mullet." No, I won't. I'm gonna tell Len and Jeremy about this. So I did. So Steven wanted me to put a mullet on him, and I don't think that's cool. I told that to the wrong people.
Oh yeah, because they're all for it.
Yeah, so they're like, now he has to have a mullet.
Noah says, what about male pattern baldness? So kind of balding in the back rather than in the front kind of thing. I don't know.
Bald spot? I am trying, Steven. We're just testing, you know?
We're playing around, seeing what works.
You can tell that our hobby's filled with a bunch of older guys. Because like when I was a kid, no one would have ever said, "Hey, how about male pattern baldness?"
Yeah. But that's when all the wrestlers had the long, greasy hair too. So different times.
I'm liking this. I'm liking how the hair's shaping up now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that, Stephen Bisciotti? Like that?
And Jay Wright says he needs a rat tail. I don't think so. I don't think rat tail is the right way to go.
Well, there's a rat tail. Is that like a ponytail?
Yeah, it's kind of like a little strand in the back. It's very
yeah, I've seen that. It's very American.
Yeah,
I don't know if you want to say it's very American.
Have you seen that hair in any other country, Stephen? Because I'm not.
I don't frequent other countries.
It's very Joe Dirt-ish.
Isn't he American?
Joe Dirt is definitely an American character.
Vonnie Rotten Pick says, I may have missed this, but this is the second in command, like an executive officer, vice president, principal, or is he the head of the military while the believer is the religious political head? So this is for the Order of the Pure. So it's the Unyielding is the number one guy, and this is going to be his top general, his number two in command. But the Unyielding is definitely in the field of battle. He's not just, managing from the sidelines, right, Stephen?
Exactly. He's going to be out there, especially if it's a battle that he finds interest in. He's going to probably definitely be there.
So, another question here. I'm going to duplicate this and try something. Some kind of backslick. Because some of this will be gone. We might as well start to plan for this, right?
Wrong side. But yes, what you're doing, but on the other side, yep. And down to the ear, right? Because we're saying the ear is going to be either missing or deformed or something.
Yeah. Like
all this gone. Yeah, probably. And then
Yep.
So should this other part be?
I don't know if you want to go back that far on the back of the head and more down towards the ear instead.
How? Okay, so
Yeah, I would replace that part. Yeah.
but he has somehow, I mean, dodged a magical attack or something that has
Yeah,
burned
it
him.
hit that
He's
side of
throwing
his
himself to
face.
the side. So if it has attacked this part, it needs to be like,
Yeah.
something like.
Yeah, gotcha.
So I think we need at least this part.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think back slick is kind of, combed back is probably the best way to go.
I would just say it's so short that it's not really a flat top, but it's just kind of standing up. I don't think it needs to be combed at all. I think it's so short that it doesn't, does that make sense? Like, it's so short you don't have to brush it in any sort of way.
Unless we make it longer.
I like the kind of mutton chops on the side. I would even make those a little bit bigger.
You want to make these bigger?
Yeah.
That could be kind of fun.
So he's got one mutton chop.
Yeah. Make it wide. Yeah. That's cool.
No, what? No.
Not that far, maybe. I don't know.
But what if you can? What if his other side of his face gets to the point where the hair starts to actually get back? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a little half chop on the other side.
I wonder if
Like
that
it
would
goes
work.
down here.
Yeah. Maybe just below the ear or at the.
You put it in and then he'll erase it probably.
Yeah.
What?
Because you still
Did you
want
say?
it to be burned to the ear, but he's saying below, like more towards the cheek, it would start growing back in, like that. The burn
Maybe
didn't hit that low.
Maybe we'll do that as a separate sub tool.
Okay.
Ta-da! Just gonna make this. So it's basically the burn mark. That is the back
Jeez.
or
The boss weighed in.
Oh boy. Len,
It's very. Yeah. Here we go.
he says, "Here's my idea. You can ignore his
Oh,
scars."
the poor me. Poor me.
Yeah, his scars are like Doctor Doom. It's something that was caused by the Alliance or non-human. He has to look at it in the mirror every day, and it fuels his hate.
I'm not going to ignore that. I like it, Len.
No, yeah, that's a good idea.
I
think
know
that-
what he's really asking for.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we were thinking, anyways. But that, puts it into perspective. And then Trevor says, "Yeah, mutton chops." So there we go. We took a lot of Trevor's ideas in the last time, and it didn't steer us wrong. So.
Isn't this what Len wants? Really?
And
Yes.
yes, big mustache. Alva Toy Hunter says, "So a burn Pete General that's more of an alpha than the Lord." I don't know about more of an alpha than the Lord, but yeah, it's very much got a Pete McCarthy kind of mutton chop haircut.
Now, when I looked at it, of course, this was too much, but somehow I like the idea of a mustache.
Yeah, save that in case we make a Rio Blast.
We could do a mustache. That might look cool.
Yeah, I'm serious now.
Here's what you do. You make a character with a mustache and then a big hat, and Len won't know whether to print it or not. He'll be conflicted.
But really, just
No, it looks cool. It looks very like almost Civil War-ish, but militaristic.
is it that crazy of an idea?
No, come on, Chatter's mustache.
The only thing that I would throw out
Cheaper.
there is that this is the second person in the Unpure, and the first one also has a mustache. So
Yeah, but it's like
That's right.
no,
It's
but
the
that's okay, right? Because like cops, they all have mustache. They all do the same
Yeah.
thing.
as long as we make it different enough, I think it'll be fine.
And that's a completely different mustache.
Yeah, handlebar type or what do you call that? The Hulk Hogan kind of coming down the sides mustache.
Is it too much?
No, I like it. I like it.
This is. I mean, I would like to have some second opinions if we're doing this together. So people need to say, mustache or not.
I like it. Lynn says, I'm liking the mutton chops, but then you'd need to do a non-scarred younger version. So he's already making you do a second head.
Wow. Save. You see that I continuously save. Try to. So let's put this. We wanted. This is a bit weird, isn't it? To have, or is it?
No, it is. It is weird.
It is weird.
Just remove that.
I
mean,
I like the idea of having it there. I think it just needs to be. It needs to kind of mirror the other side, though.
But just make sure. I mean, this side will also be filled with scars.
Yeah, but we're saying that it kind of like hit and went up this way, so it wouldn't have, kind of basically hit from his cheek up, not below the cheek line wouldn't be affected.
Got it. Then we just put it here for now.
Mm-hmm.
We can
plan
for it.
Let's see.
I think it balances his head. Like if you look at it straight on, it balances the head. It's almost like if you're not,
I'm not sure how far we want it. And this is another thing.
Len is saying, and I don't see a comment from David, but Len says, yes, listen to David, connect the sideburns and the stash. So make them connect. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I don't know. We can look at it and see.
Sure. Let's try something like this. Then I'll just duplicate the mustache, and then we do it like this. Up, smooth it out, move it.
I think that looks kind of cool. That looks really cool.
It actually kind of does.
Yeah, I like that.
Maybe we'll just remove this part, and I'll
stretch it out from the mustache.
Yeah, let's work that from the stash. So just
somebody, let me see. Oh, this is Jeremy DeWitt says that it's James Hetfield. So,
oh no,
and that's not a bad thing. So,
well, I know, but it's maybe if we would be using a reference here now, then it would be
get a pic of Cameron for reference.
Yeah, Lynn just said get a pic of Cameron for reference. It does kind of look like Cameron from the studio too.
That's a lot cooler than Hetfield.
I would say equal coolness level. They're both pretty cool.
But then you don't know how cool you think that I think that our Cameron is.
Yeah, I like that a lot. It looks like the chat is liking this.
Well, you're in command of the chat, so what shape is it?
David Williams. Good? James Hetfield did burn off half of his face at one point.
That wouldn't surprise me, though.
And Sarah says Cameron's way cooler than Hetfield, but that's fine. I like Cameron.
We agree. I have someone that agrees with me here.
So before we get too far going with this, because I know you still have to work out the details on the burn scar and stuff, but what are you thinking about the eye patch? Is it just a standard patch with a string, or is it like what are we doing there?
Wouldn't it be cool to make it unique in some way?
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah.
Shall we have a skull on it? No.
I don't know.
No, it needs. I mean, any ideas? Let me just put something there for now. Save again.
I mean, he's.
What if it has an eye? What if it has an eye on it?
Like a painted eye, like. Even if he closes his eyes, then it'll be like, I'm looking at you.
Yes.
No.
Be kind of creepy,
We can't.
isn't it?
This is not a mud thump.
It's kind of creepy, though.
Well, yeah, but it's also silly. And do we really think that this guy is silly? I just told you that it was silly.
Serious. He's a serious old grumpy bastard. Sarah says lightning bolt ? Drew Grubb says free floating eye patch, like it fits into the socket. That's kind of gross.
Oh yes, how?
That's not a bad idea.
That's not. But then it needs to be somehow stitched in place or something.
David Williams says leather patch, maybe.
Leather patch is another.
Leather is what my original thought was. Having the string around the head's, well.
Could also be a slightly. Okay, so it needs to be fitting well. Would the strap go below here then, below the ear, and up on this side?
I think so.
Would it even be in 3 places, like going straight here, down there, and here?
Some people are talking about like a Templar logo or God's Fire logo, but this is for the Order of the Pure. So this is, they wouldn't have those. And I don't know, is there a logo for the Pure? Or is there some sort of symbol that they use?
Not yet, I guess.
I know typically they're designed for, like, is it the idea that we would use Dark Templars for the base body for the most part for these characters?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, I guess it still could be like a cross if you wanted to do something like that, but yeah, Luis is saying iron cross, metal plate covering his eye. We talked about that. We're not going to do leather, but maybe, or not metal, but maybe leather.
You could do a metal insert with leather around it.
Yeah, like this piece here would be metal.
Could. It's just an idea.
Yeah, metal with leather in the middle, or vice versa.
Because you'd want it to be plush and pliable around your skin, because.
Yeah.
But it could be metal. It could be a metal in.
Mark R says eye patch like Dennis Hopper in Waterworld. I can't picture that, so I'm not sure what that looks like. But
I'll look at it.
Trevor says, "How about a jeweled fake eye?" But we already have a character that already kind of has that, right? In the tribal lands.
Steven has designed something like that, but it's. I'm not sure if.
Gross. Zombie said, "Make it the skin of one of his enemies."
Ooh.
Like he skinned an orc and used that for his eye patch.
That's another thing that I mean, wouldn't that be? You would definitely get some color into this character then. No, yeah. I can't. But I think they would say that these are. That skin would be filthy or impure, so why you can't wear it? It's like, they're probably. They would probably not think that was a good idea.
I kind of like how I'm looking at Dennis Hopper from Waterworld, and I kind of think that the way the strap kind of goes is pretty cool.
And
what was that?
Describe it for us.
Oh, the best thing to do is, I don't know, maybe you guys can see it.
And I'm gonna say something to everyone here because I always use reference when I sculpt. You know, when especially. Oh, I can't see that. Oh, blah, 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 blah,
You
blah.
see how the
a lot
strap splits over his
Oh
good
yeah,
eye?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
kind
but
of cool.
that's what I said, right? From the to have one that goes there,
And then one
and
under the
then one
form
there and one there.
That's different than that, but yeah, I
Well, I
think
can't see
maybe
it.
it
Really.
isn't. Maybe
There's a lot of comments coming in, so sorry if I don't get to everybody's, but Luis says yes, Dark Templars have an Iron Cross. Sarah says orc skin would be cool. Noah says the strap on the patch should affect the hair. That would be okay / cool. Somebody
Yeah.
says he looks like Major Blood, which I guess I could kind of see that.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, this is gonna work for Major Blood costume.
No. I'll remove this for now.
Excuse me.
Len
Let's
says,
get back to that.
what about a simple draped bandage like a holy man would wear, and it would be removable as a separate part? I don't know how you would
Well,
do that.
would you? Then it would get the empty eye socket idea.
Yeah.
Len, don't
Would
take
that, be a,
I mean,
would that be a
if we're gonna-
flexible resin separate part? Is that what you're talking about, Len?
So we really wouldn't start to do the scars and stuff before we have the shapes of the character down, but kind of feels like we want to go there.
You can go wherever you want, Emil.
Yeah, I'm just saying that. Well, next time maybe we'll start. I mean, use references for sculpting. I will probably be picking up some references afterwards, and when I'll finish it, because we won't finish it, but we will get the whole idea.
And
so let's do some scars.
Emil Zombie says that he messaged you the pics that Steven was looking at, so it's in your email if you want to look at it for reference.
Looking. Oh, now I see there are two straps on that side. Got it.
It's a little
it's almost like a crown. Or I mean, no, it's not, but it's
just a different way of doing it. It could be kind of cool.
Yep.
And then Lynn says, think of it like Valak's draped cape thing. So like a separate piece.
That covers his eye.
Yeah, that covers his eye.
I think I know what Len's talking about.
I do too. I'm just not sure how it would work with a painted head and then that fitting over it. But, you know, I mean, you guys also designed a face mask that goes onto a pauldron. So, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do something at least. Okay. So I'm saying usually when you sculpt something, you make sure, or when I would do scars and stuff, I would finish the whole head, and then I would start to add scars. Okay. Now, since we're doing this together, we have to do things differently. I want us to move on to be able to see the ideas behind the scars. Okay.
Okay. I like it.
So it's a bad working process if you want to do this.
So we're thinking that this thing hit him kind of on the cheekbone and then went back, correct?
Here.
Yeah. Okay.
So
real quickly, Trevor says, so these guys are pious and holier than thou. I don't know, Steven?
They're more like extremists. They're like, I guess you could compare them to Nazi Germany. Really, they hate you. They hate anything but that's not human, and they want it gone.
Yeah. So we don't support these guys.
No, these guys are. So the way I kind of see it is, you've got the Alliance, which is kind of your bad guys, and they're mad because they don't feel like they've been treated fairly. And that's where all your non-human folk, most of your non-human folk, are going to fall in the Alliance. Ironically enough, the Dragon Warrior is a human, and he's one of the biggest leaders. But if you read the Dragon Warrior's bio, you'll see he was raised by a dragon that was killed by humans. So he's got a reason for his support of the Romorians and all these other factions. And then you've got God's Fire, which it's led by Lundberg, who is essentially a monster hunter. He's kind of like a witcher almost. He goes in and he takes out bad monsters, but he doesn't hate all monsters. Or I shouldn't even say monster. All non-human kind. He doesn't hate them all. Like that's his job. His expertise. He's a vampire hunter. He'll go in and take out supernatural things. That's what God's Fire was born on.
I wouldn't say that God's Fire. They don't hate monsters. They only want. I mean, so they can diverse between.
Yes.
So actually, like The Witcher, they're not just killing monsters. They're killing. They're fighting the bad.
Yep.
You know.
But
man or beast.
But the Alliance, now they are your non-human folk kind. They still don't really like. They're misunderstanding of you. They don't like God's Fire because they see them as monster hunters and they hate them. And so it's kind of like you've got this clash, and then you've got Perosa, who leads the Alliance, that is kind of feeding this hate and this anger. And he's got the pain mongers, which are the people that, or the beings that feel that they haven't been treated fairly. So they're like your guerrilla warfare guys that put the helmet on at night, and they're probably orcs under that. Most of them are non-human, and they're going to run out and they're going to cause trouble. And you've got God's Fire trying to kind of quell this whole thing. Then the third faction is the Pure, and these guys, see, there's kind of, the other ones aren't all evil or all good, but these guys are pretty much all evil. They have, he's the unyielding. There's no, it's black and white. Non-human, bad. Magic powers, bad. You anything, that is different from them needs to be destroyed. And that's what these guys are. These guys are not, they're not very redeemable characters.
Gotcha. One thing on the sculpt, Emil, Noah says deep furrows along the cheek and scalp, and then residual burns and bumps around that. So kind of like, the biggest impact that he took was right on the cheekbone. So you're going to kind of have some more severe scarring towards that section. And then as it goes back on his head, kind of the scarring gets a little less, if that makes sense.
So, okay, now I've said this multiple times, so you already know that I would make sure to get the full sculpt ready before I do the scars. Now, let's do the scars anyway. First of all, I'm gonna increase the resolution to something.
And for those that weren't with us for the last live session that we did, odds are we're not going to have a completely finished sculpt by the time we get done here. There's still work that Emil has to do to kind of smooth things out and get it ready to print and that kind of stuff. So we're going to try to get as close as we can so you kind of have a visual of what the character is going to look like. But I don't know that it'll be completely finished. Does that sound correct, Emil?
It won't be completely finished because, even though the last time people saw it and thought that it was finished, and then it was all, what takes the longest is the last part. That's when you refine everything.
And Noah says that he's sorry that he angered you, Emil.
What? Why? What happened?
I didn't know, because you just said that you normally wouldn't do that part now, but yeah, He's just joshing you.
Noah, my friend.
So you're just using you're just putting deep.
Now I'm actually using a tool that is called it's noise. I just quick way I add noise, and then I smooth it out.
And that's to replicate like pores and things in the skin.
But for now, I want to try to make like this.
Oh yeah, he's
Like, his skin is magically melted.
yeah. That's you're still using noise. You're turning up how you.
Yeah, I'm just adding noise, so it's.
And Bonnie Rotten Pick says, I think away from the immediate impact zone, it should look reminiscent of Freddy Krueger or possibly Two-Face. So I could see that.
Yeah. So it melts here into the eye, so the eye is not functional, but and this is also something when you've done this, and then you let Len print this, and then you realize that none of this is visible in the print. That's sad moments. Like for the acolytes heads that we did for the corrupt turns, they are basically. I mean, I worked a lot on those to make sure that they have a texture on them, to make it look like ninja hoods, and I did them too small, so it's like, so you don't see the work I put into.
So what else, as he's working on the sculpt on this, Steven, what else do you think on this character's backstory? So we know he's a second in command. We know he was burned by something. He's an older gentleman, and he really took to the unyielding's ideas as he broke off from God's fire. What else with this guy in terms of bio are you thinking?
I think he needs something deeper than the pure, even, because I think he was in my mind, this guy was a very easy convert for the pure. So
did he have this scar before from a young age? Did his whole family get slaughtered or something? And he survived.
I think
with
he
this
should have suffered. I think he suffered the scar in the war.
In the war, okay.
in a battle. However, I think that he went off to join the army, the order of the Grand Order, because of something that may have happened in his youth, like maybe his parents were killed by monster kind or something, and he was kind of exacting his revenge, but the Grand Order just isn't harsh enough for him. It's not enough, and he kind of always had these seeds of, we're not doing enough, we're too soft, we need to go get these people before they even do anything wrong, basically. So then when the unyielding comes along and starts spouting but he was a slow burn. He's kind of started out with decent intentions, and war did this to him. I think this guy's fall started way earlier in his life.
So this guy, when he joined the Grand Order, in his mind, that was the best way to get revenge.
Yep.
But as time went on, he realized it wasn't extreme enough, and so when he saw this other avenue that was more extreme, he immediately flocked to that.
Yep.
Because the order is similar to, the judge. He from the God's Fire group. He wasn't. He don't like people, but he's there to learn, to forgive and to the believer has a good impact on him.
Yes.
And
yes,
that's probably what was supposed to happen with this guy, that he he was supposed to let go of the past and forgive and move on and do something good, maybe.
A couple things on the sculpt real quick as you're going. Like, there's some comments on, maybe it caused more damage to the cheekbone, so maybe it's kind of pushed in a little bit. And Luis says maybe make the texture a little bit deeper so it really shows up on the skin. So just a couple things there.
Got it. Good feedback. Start with making these.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll start with making these deeper, and then that's a common mistake, I think, for me. I start playing with the small details too early, without having the big. That's just when you're doing an illustration or whatever. Don't go into the details too fast. Here I did that.
We've got some stuff with the story here. Go through real quick. So, Joe Gonzalez, sorry that I butchered your name. How about it was his own fault that he got hurt? He blames monsters, but it's a shame that drives us hatred. So, kind of an idea there.
Yeah.
Bonnie Rotten Pick says maybe a loved one was hit full on with magic. As they were being held by him, so his loved one melted in his arms.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's
horrible. I love it.
Maybe even his own son that was running to him. And then Len says he's a master tactician, one of 5 great generals known throughout the land.
I like that.
Coveted by any army.
So maybe
this guy, multiple of these.
Huh?
I think we could use multiple of those.
You could, and I kind of like that idea because this kind of puts him opposite the Faithless. He's the great tactician of this group. He's the smarty pants. That's what the Faithless is in God's Fire. So it could be in the movie. You could see these two trying to outsmart each other.
Oh man, Steven's already on movies. Man.
We're always thinking about movies, Curtis.
Yeah.
Whatever, if they'll happen or not, you keep seeing how would the character look, how would he act, That's part of the fun.
It is.
Luis says scars through the hair. I'm not sure what he means by that. I don't know how you would.
Oh, I know what he means.
Okay.
You want to go?
You'd have to delete some of the hair, I think.
Yeah, well, let's do that. Let's just. We'll fix the hair.
Yeah, because the hair still needs to be textured and everything.
You're gonna have to go to the hair subtool and damn standard that bitch right down to the scalp.
I am doing that now.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I don't mean to tell you what to do. I know you're the master, and I'm just.
Oh, come on!
Even you're on the shit list with Noah now. You both have angered me.
So, Steven and I said we had some time sitting down, sculpting, learning the basics. So now I'm selling that course for $1,000. I learned.
Nice. Well, we don't need it.
It comes with a number if you have any questions to call Saba.
Exactly. I was going to say, we just found out on this live stream, you just email Saba and ask him to send you all his tools, and then you go from there.
Make sure to befriend the best sculptor in the fan community.
I like that. That's kind of looking cool.
So we still wanted to feel like it's okay.
Luis said you got it for sure on the scars through the hair, so he likes what you did there.
What if you put a patch of hair? Like go up to... I'm pointing like you can see me. Like there's that big spot up towards the hairline. It's over to the left, over to right down. Go to the right. No, up, straight up from there. Oh, they're right there. That spot right there. Maybe you could put a little patch of hair. Would that work? And then just put like a few strands in there where it would look like that specific spot.
Can do something like that. This will be horrible to paint, you know that, right? This this spot of hair that you just added, Stephen?
I'm not scared.
So, no, so I think I want to. Okay, so this is not a recent scar. He has been carrying this for a while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So then stuff has happened to it. I think we need to add some, bubbles and stuff, like it's.
I think you need to go, unless we're saying that the damage to the ear is different. I think you need to go a little bit more towards that ear, so we can get that damage spot. Unless the ear is just a separate cauliflower ear, and we could have that on both ears. Like, this guy has a lot of hand-to-hand fights, and so he has cauliflower the ear on both ears.
What you would have?
I think the ears are too tiny as well. I think we need to make them more bigger. Okay, what did you say, Stephen?
What if you just add some of that same noise and damage to a part of that ear?
Yeah.
Like it caught, like the part that sticks out, a piece of that ear caught some of that splash, but the inner ear that's closer to his head didn't.
Gotcha.
Got it.
Yeah, and this is one of those uglier the better kind of things. Looks like we've got some stuff in your YouTube chat that we got a spammer in there, Emil. I'm not sure if you can kick that out or not. They're looking for us to find love in our town today. So
I don't know.
Somebody says Travis is here, so maybe that's Travis.
Is it many, or are there two?
Maybe
that's his name.
Pretty
maybe
sure
it's a friendly person.
It could be. It's possible.
So I don't. That's my answer of saying I hope it doesn't bother too much. I don't know how to kick that person out.
Okay. All right.
Especially not since I'm sculpting at the same time.
I know Trevor gets it a lot on his, so maybe if Trevor is still watching, he can let us know how to kick out a spammer.
Yeah.
Noah says they're definitely friendly. Oh, shoot.
Since I've had this problem before, I keep saving two different files. And I just changed the last letter of it from 1 to 2.
Gotcha.
To make sure that I have, if one of them gets corrupted, there's still hope that the other one is not 15 days old, which it shouldn't be. Okay, so that's the wrong kind of hair. Anyway, we talked about the ear having color. This one.
So just a heads up on time, Emil, we're closing on the 2-hour mark.
Oh, we said about 2 hours, right? So we should probably.
Well, I'm okay to go as long as you guys want, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on this?
I think we should close at the 2 hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
And either we're far enough to know that Emil knows which direction he's going to take this sucker, or we do another session where we finish it.
Okay. So we got 11 more minutes to put any kind of touches on there that you'd want to put for this.
Okay, then make sure to. Let's make sure to have that you guys have given me all the info I need then. So the hair is far from gone. We need to work on the eye patch. Unless the idea of him, just one of the eyes are.
You could, and this is Louis Torres' idea, but we could go back and do the leather with the metal insert with the cross and the.
I like that.
In the metal. And
without straps or with straps still?
I think straps are cool. I forwarded you a picture that was sent to me, Emil. I don't know. I think that Chris James sent a picture along of an eye patch idea. Just the way the straps go. Not that we have to use that idea. It's just.
What is your plan of letting me do this and look at that? I can't. This is not how you do an eye patch, people. But it's. I'm just to get a fast idea of where we're going.
If you need a little bit more time, Emil, like we don't have to cut it off at 2 hours. We could go an extra, 10, 15 minutes.
But somewhere around there then, so we don't.
Okay. So we'll cut it off at.
I mean, for real, I will probably continue sculpting after.
Yeah, I mean, I got nowhere to go, so I'm good. So we'll keep going then for a little bit.
But I just want to make sure that, I mean, because if a session is, if people expect 2 hours and it becomes longer, it's...
Yeah, we didn't say that it was only going to be 2 hours, and I've even got some comments in the chat, like Zombie 13 said, he would like, whether it's another session or today, like to see how to apply the finishing details instead of just the starting of the project. So, I don't know.
I personally think it'd be a good idea to make this a two-parter.
Okay.
You want to do that?
Sure, we can do that. But I mean, honestly though, the second part of it, when you work on all the details, I think it is slightly more boring to watch, I would guess, since it's more of going very close at the same time.
We don't have to make that session a long one either. You can get this thing, if you want to work on it on the downtime, get it close, and then you can kind of go over how you finish it for people, and then we can be here.
That could even be something where if you wanted to like record yourself and kind of edit it and just kind of show some of the things that you do for finishing it, maybe instead of a live stream, maybe that's just a separate video that you do on your YouTube. I don't know.
I'm not gonna say anything yet because I don't know. I just don't want it to be boring for people that watch.
I know that wasn't on purpose, but I like that part where the hair comes down over the thing right there, the strap. That's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, we definitely need to have something like that so that it feels alive. I mean, we haven't talked about eye patch like this, but
yeah, somebody says I just like the strap like that, like without any sort of patch.
It almost does look tough, and I think that's more similar to what Len was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so
I don't know.
So I like that idea, but story-wise, if this person is walking around like this, fighting, this is not something that he has acquired right now. He would do something about that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, that's true. So you would think that he would have a permanent solution.
Yeah. So I'm just...
Hell, you just shoved that right in his skull.
Yeah, I already dislike this faction because they're so evil.
That's the point.
I know that's the point, so that's good. So that's why I shove it right through it. All of these characters will have big scars.
Zombie says
that looks weird, doesn't that? Looks weird.
Zombie says that's the type of thing I'd like to see. Zooming in and seeing the process and function of ZBrush program. Developing the characters is cool, but I'd like to learn more about the actual sculpting process. So that might be a separate video that we do, or
we can do that,
or a live stream.
We can do that.
What about the shape? Instead of doing like square like that, what if it's like octagonal or something like that? like
Good.
not a circle, not but like
I'm also a little bit interested in that idea that early on, now I don't remember, there was an idea of a glass eye.
yeah, or a
Okay.
missing eye, yeah,
Or a missing eye. I think he needs to fill the hole with something. But somehow it just, I mean, now I know you wanted the eye patch, Steven. But I'm just trying something.
trying a big old glass eye.
Okay.
What's gonna make it look like a glass eye other than paint, though?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
Len printing it in translucent plastic. You just don't paint the eye. Len saying, how about a name? What are we thinking about this guy?
He's gonna be a the character. The Scarred.
That's like the loser. The one who's been hit a lot. The scarred.
Oh.
But the scarred is, I mean, it wouldn't probably be what he called himself, or
No, but I'm not saying it has to be that at all. But most of our names in the God's Fire world are pretty on the nose.
yeah,
They're
exactly. I don't think that the faithless would call himself the faithless.
No.
Yeah, I'm the faithless.
Ooh.
Honed X says Craith as a name, and apparently it means scar in Welsh. So Craith, like General Craith.
I think that's pretty cool.
Noah says the insurmountable. John Caulfield says literalist.
How would it make sense? I mean,
a lot of times too, in the real process, these things take days.
Yeah.
Me and Emil will kick around with names for, how about we'll have a list of them before we get to the one we want to pick.
So
Insurmountable is cool, but
yeah.
it's long.
So as we get close to finishing up, just a reminder, folks, we will have a post in the Wolf Den later today. It's going to go for a week. If you want to be entered in for the prizes that we're going to draw for just between now and next Friday, just need to pop on there in the Wolf Den on that post and just comment what you liked most about this live stream. If there's things that you would like to see us do going forward on different aspects of this, please make sure you let us know that. But as long as you comment on that thread, you'll be entered in for the drawing. So
I would say that other idea as well, that there will be another contest coming up.
Yeah, you want to pitch that, or you want one of us to do it?
I can do it.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, means we will have another contest coming up, making a post about that in the Wolf Den. And that is basically that you can come up with a character from this same faction, the Pure, who connected with this live. So you write you create the character. You don't have to make a full bio. You create an idea about the character and describe how he looks, and the winner will. We will make that character into the storyline and make that sculpt and have it available for sale. And of course, the winner will get one for free, right?
Yep, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
that you'll be seeing details on that within the coming weeks. Like Emil said, you don't really have to draw anything or have a full bio, but obviously the more you give us to work with, the more information we have to make that decision. So, if you feel like sketching something out, if you feel like writing a full bio, by all means have at it, and we'll take all those entries and look at it and decide which one we like the best, and that one will get made into a character. Lord Steven, what are your thoughts on that?
Sounds fun. Who's picking it? Us three? We just get together and say this is it.
Yeah, I'm sure Len will have an input as well. He'll tell us what our opinions are. So, so since you guys know Len will be involved, hats would be an option. So think about hats as well.
So, okay. We haven't solved it now when we're quitting. So the hair, we're basically saying that it should be kind of like this, short.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think so.
And the idea for the eye patch is pretty. That's the biggest thing that is not included here.
Correct.
And we have not agreed on something yet.
Not
really. I think we all liked that Dennis Hopper Waterworld type one. Obviously less technical than that because that's more of a future post-apocalyptic, and this is more, medieval times. So yeah,
and you want him still to feel.
Len says there's the wrong way and then there's the Len way.
So Len, how would the eye patch be?
Yeah, there you go. Len, we need your help. How should we make the eye patch? Or should it be an eye patch? Should it just be a missing eye socket or a glass eye? Oh, Facebook user, I don't know. Ronnie Smith says, shouldn't some of the eyebrow also be burnt off?
So, absolutely. You're so right. I just had that as a separate sub tool, and I just wanted to my default ones. I think we said that most of this eyebrow would be burned off. So maybe just, if any, just a little bit, would be visible.
Lynn's saying I already told you that. So he's likes the idea of the eye patch being more of just kind of a bandage that would be a separate 3D part that would go over this. So.
and he would solve that, he says. Okay, that's awesome. So I guess, I really don't know what way we should do the eye patch. I really don't know. So
let's think on it.
If we can come up with a good idea for that one.
Can you throw an octagon shape in there real quick and just see what that would look like?
Yeah, if I was good enough, but I'm not good enough, so my answer is no.
Okay, that works.
Or maybe.
I don't think there is.
No, so there isn't a way to do that very easily, but
Gotcha.
I've not done it.
Well,
I really like the facial hair. That's really cool. It's a very unique look compared to the other characters that we have.
This will be interesting. So just the eye patch. That's the big thingy.
I think it should just be leather.
Yeah.
Leather works.
It needs to be so like that. I mean, not like that, but something simple.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Yeah.
the straps.
Just don't tell Len I said this, but I don't like Len's idea. So, but don't tell him I said that.
I love Len's idea.
I just texted him.
I like the patch being part of the sculpt, not a separate piece. But
I'm not going to admit that.
But I do think that after this is done, it would be cool at some point down the road to see an unscarred, non-eye patch version of this character as a younger character.
So, do you know that what I just talked about, doing the finished character before you start to scar him?
Yeah, but we don't do that.
Do you know why we do that? So that
because we're trying to take a process that normally takes weeks and put it into 2 hours.
Yeah, and now you want me to heal this guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. So we'll see what will happen there. I kind of was hoping that we had something more exactly what you guys had wished for, but we have some stuff here at least.
I think there's a lot there.
Yeah.
We had nothing before we started this. You realize?
Sorry, I just kind of cringed a bit because Hank said, "Why can't the eye patch just be a peg that goes in the hole that can be removed?" That kind of grossed me out a little bit. You just go like a railroad spike or something.
I really like. I mean, now we're doing this together, but I kind of like the idea not to have an eye patch. But the eye patch, it needs to be, well, not take up this much space, of course.
I like the eye patch that would be held in, like, without a strap. I don't know how you would do that, but
well, sculpt wise it's easy.
Yeah,
but if we can make it work story, I mean,
because I think a patch without a strap would look cool.
Steven.
Yeah.
What do you say about that before we close this?
How does an eye patch without a strap work?
I don't know.
How does it stay on?
I don't know.
I mean, do we
Somebody
not
said
care?
earlier about bolting it on, like if it was metal, but I know we said we kind of wanted to say that for like if we did an org or something, but I don't know.
You want to have it bolted on?
I don't want it bolted on.
But you don't want to have it bolted on?
No.
So,
all right. So we don't know yet.
We don't know yet, but here we are, about to end this. Any cool ideas? You can always send me something on Messenger before this has been done, and yeah.
So we're doing the drawing next weekend, next Saturday. I'll do a wheel. Do you think between now and next Saturday we could have a finished sculpt and bio for this guy?
Absolutely.
Okay. So that'll be the goal. So once again, look for details on that post in the Wolf Den later today. You got from now till next Friday to go ahead and go in there and post what you liked most about this live stream. And then Saturday we will show the finished product, go through the bio, and do a wheel for the prizes. So this was really fun, guys. It was
a lot of fun hanging out with so many of you, and that there was so many different ideas and stuff to talk about. I enjoyed that.
One last comment here I wanted to pull up. Drew says, people with no eye still have a socket, so the attachment could fit in the socket and hold the patch. So basically it could be a patch that pops in and doesn't have a strap.
I do remember that because I remember a friend of mine, he had a glass eye, and he actually, when he shared a hotel room with one of his friends that didn't know he had this glass eye, so he kind of took out his eye and put it on that guy's pillow. So when he was like, okay. So I know it okay. Anyway.
So that's an idea. So any closing thoughts, Emil?
Nothing now.
Okay.
Nice to do this. Fun to do this together.
Steven?
Fun stuff. I like this character. I think he's cool. I think, I don't know. I really like the eye patch and the scarring and the mutton chops, if that's what you call those. So,
yeah.
No, fun stuff.
Yeah, no, he's looking cool. I love the backstory. Appreciate all the interactive comments from everybody. Sorry, couldn't get everybody's comment. It was just, it was a lot to keep up with. You guys were keeping me busy. So, great sculpting, great story from Emil and Steven. Appreciate you guys being on. And thanks for everybody for coming in, and look for those posts in the Wolf Den. Also look up for that new contest coming out on creating your own character. So, all right, that's it.
Perfect.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Let's end the live now. Bye.
Bye.